Have you ever been dead asleep at 3 loud in the morning, only to be jolted awake by a terrifying sound from the foot of your bed? Flap, flap, flap. It's the heavy, aggressive sound of your dog frantically shaking their head, their ears slapping against their skull. They stop for a brief second, let out a painful, high-pitched groan, and then start desperately scratching at their ear with their back paw. As a loving pet parent, hearing that sound is pure torture. You turn on the light, lift up your dog's ear flap, and you see bright red skin, angry inflammation, and gross dark brown gunk. Your dog whines and pulls away when you try to touch it because they are in absolute agony. In that moment of panic, almost every well-meaning pet owner makes the exact same catastrophic mistake. They go into their bathroom cabinet, grab a box of Q-tips or cotton swabs, and try to dig that gunk out. But what if I told you that by using a Q-tip, you aren't actually cleaning their ear at all? What if I told you that a single Q-tip could literally cause permanent deafness in your dog? Chronic ear infections are one of the most frustrating, painful, and expensive issues in all of veterinary medicine. Owners spend hundreds of dollars on fancy vet drops only for the infection to come roaring back a month later. Today, we are going to break that expensive cycle by understanding the actual biology of a dog's ear. We will talk about the deadly danger of Q-tips, how to perform a sniff test at home, and reveal 3 cheap, natural, highly effective DIY remedies, including a brilliant $5 pharmacy hack that will cure your dog's ears safely from your own kitchen. Before we can cure the ear, we have to understand why the ear gets sick in the first place. Most chronic dog ear issues actually start as a systemic underlying allergy, either a food allergy or a reaction to pollen and grass. When a dog has an allergy, the highly sensitive skin lining the inside of their ear canal becomes inflamed. It swells up, getting hot and irritated. When that natural skin barrier breaks down from inflammation, it creates the perfect storm. Think about the anatomy of floppy-eared dogs like Cocker Spaniels, Basset Hounds, Golden Retrievers, Poodles, and Doodles. They have these incredibly cute, heavy, thick, furry ear flaps that hang down like a heavy blanket over their ear canal. This heavy flap completely blocks out fresh air and traps massive amounts of heat and moisture inside the ear. Biologically, this transforms your dog's ear canal into a literal greenhouse. It is dark, it is warm, and it is moist. This is the absolute ideal breeding ground for microscopic bacteria and fungal yeast to violently multiply and thrive out of control. So, how do we know what is actually growing inside your dog's ear? When managing these issues at home, the very first step is recognizing what exact microscopic enemy you are dealing with. As a pet parent, you don't need a microscope to do this. You just need your nose. A perfectly healthy, clean dog ear should not smell like much of anything. It might just smell like warm fur. But when there is a massive yeast overgrowth, specifically a fungus called Malassezia, it produces a highly distinct, pungent, terrible odor. I want you to flip your dog's ear back and smell it. Does it smell like corn chips? Does it smell heavily like Fritos or perhaps like old musty yeasty beer? If you get hit with that intense Frito foot smell from their ear, you are not imagining things. Using your sense of smell is an incredibly excellent safe way to catch a yeast issue early. You are dealing with Malassezia. The next step in home diagnosis is looking at the debris. When you look inside that inflamed ear, you will likely see clumps of dark black or thick brown gunk. It usually looks exactly like wet coffee grounds. Now, if you go on the internet, many outdated blogs will tell you that coffee ground debris means your dog has ear mites. I want to correct that myth right now. In clinical veterinary medicine, 99% of the time, Dark coffee ground-like debris inside an adult dog's ear is a massive yeast overgrowth, not ear mites. Ear mites are extremely rare in adult dogs. We usually only see them in stray puppies or feral farm cats. If your adult dog has brown gunk, heavy head shaking, intense scratching, and is highly sensitive when you rub their head, you are fighting yeast and bacteria. This leads us to arguably the most important warning: the great Q-tip danger. You've done the sniff test. You see the brown yeast. You want it out. You grab a Q-tip. Please, put it down. I need you to mentally visualize the internal anatomy of a dog's skull. Unlike human ear canals, which go straight in horizontally to the eardrum, dogs have a long L-shaped ear canal. A dog's canal goes straight down vertically, takes a sharp 90-degree turn, and then continues horizontally to the eardrum. Because of this sharp L-shaped corner, you cannot see the bottom of the canal from the outside. When you take a rigid cotton swab or a Q-tip and stick it down into your dog's ear, you are acting blindly. Furthermore, the cotton swab acts exactly like a plunger. Instead of scooping the wax out, you are forcefully ramming and packing all of that highly infected, bacteria-ridden yeast deep down into the horizontal canal, creating a rock-solid plug right against their eardrum. The deeper you push, the more pressure you build. You severely risk plunging that swab directly through their fragile tympanic membrane. If you rupture your dog's eardrum, you cause unimaginable pain, horrific neurological damage, and permanent deafness. Never, ever stick a Q-tip down into a dog's ear. If we aren't using Q-tips, how do we get the gunk out? We use the brilliant biology of the dog against itself. The safe veterinary way to clean an ear involves liquid and gravity. We are going to apply a specific liquid wash into the canal. We will take our fingers and massage the very base of the ear. You should hear a thick, wet, squishing sound. By massaging the base, you are churning that liquid around the L-shaped bend, breaking the yeast off the walls of the canal. Then, you step back. Your dog is going to naturally shake their head vigorously. That violent head shaking acts like a centrifugal centrifuge. The spinning force throws all the liquid, the broken-up yeast, and the bacteria out of the deep canal and right up onto the visible outer ear flap. Once it is on the outer flap, you simply take a large, soft, cosmetic cotton pad, lift the ear straight up, and gently wipe away all the visible debris. You never have to stick a single finger inside the canal. Now that we know the proper cleaning mechanics, what liquid are we going to use? We are going to start with remedy number 1 for mild buildup and mild itching. This is what you should use if your dog's ears are just starting to look a little dirty, or for routine maintenance after a summer swim, or a bath to prevent moisture from building up. We are going to use a blend of witch hazel and aloe. You can purchase over-the-counter witch hazel that is naturally infused with aloe vera, or buy pre-made natural antifungal pet wipes infused with witch hazel. Witch hazel is a brilliant natural astringent that naturally constricts tissue and acts as a drying agent. It has incredibly potent, mild antibacterial and antifungal properties that actively dry out the excess moisture inside that dark greenhouse environment. While the witch hazel dries the ear, the aloe vera acts as an immediate soothing agent, pulling the heat and the redness out of the irritated skin. To apply this, apply 5 to 10 drops of the witch hazel directly into the base of the ear. Gently massage the area until you hear that squishing sound. Allow your dog to shake their head and use your clean cotton pad to wipe away the loosened debris from the flap. Do this twice a day for 5 to 10 days for a mild flare-up. But what if the yeast is a little more stubborn? We move to remedy number 2, the pH balancer. For this, we are going to use green tea and apple cider vinegar. Green tea is a phenomenally powerful natural anti-inflammatory that calms fiercely red, angry skin. Apple cider vinegar provides the ultimate biological weapon: acid. The natural acidity of the vinegar completely alters the pH level of the ear canal. By dropping the pH, you turn the ear canal into an environment where it is physically and biologically impossible for yeast and stubborn bacteria to survive or multiply. They simply die off. The recipe is simple. Brew a cup of strong green tea. You must let the tea cool down completely to room temperature. Once the tea is completely cold, mix in 2 TWSP of raw, unpasteurized apple cider vinegar. Now, please listen to me carefully. I am giving you a critical safety warning. You must check your dog's ear before using this. If your dog has been scratching their ear frantically and the skin on the inside of the flap is raw, broken, or bleeding, you cannot pour this raw apple cider vinegar mixture down into their ear canal. If you put vinegar on raw, broken tissue, it will burn and sting them with massive intensity. You will cause your dog severe pain, and they will become so terrified that they will never let you touch their ears again. This green tea and vinegar mixture is incredibly effective, but it is strictly for maintenance on unbroken skin or for gently wiping down the leathery, visible inside of the ear flap with a soaked cotton round to cut through heavy grease and dirt. If the skin is unbroken, you can safely massage 5 drops in, let them shake, and wipe the flap clean. If it is red and bleeding, keep the vinegar far away. What do you do if the yeast buildup is intensely stubborn? The smell is awful, the coffee grounds keep coming back, and your dog is miserable. This brings us to the $5 liquid pharmacy fix. When you have a stubborn yeast infection in the ear, you do not always need a $100 veterinary prescription. Many commercial veterinary ear medications are expensive cocktails combining heavy pharmaceutical antibiotics, intense steroids, and antifungals all in one tube, costing upwards of $50 to $80 a bottle. Often, exposing your dog to heavy antibiotics when they only have a surface yeast infection is total overkill, and it builds antibiotic resistance. Instead, I want you to drive to your local human pharmacy. Walk down the foot care or first aid aisle and look for an over-the-counter medication called clotrimazole 1% topical solution. It is commonly sold as a generic athlete's foot or antifungal liquid, sometimes under the brand name Lotrimin or Canesten. This bottle usually costs between $5 and $10. By buying a pure clotrimazole drop, you are allowing yourself to target the fungal yeast directly, effectively, and safely without subjecting your dog's body to completely unnecessary broad-spectrum antibiotics and steroids. But here is the most crucial part of this hack. You must buy the liquid solution drops. You cannot buy the thick white human cream version of clotrimazole. Why? The ear is a long L-shaped tunnel. If you squeeze thick, heavy human foot cream into your dog's ear, that thick paste will clump up. It will act exactly like a plug deep inside the canal, sealing off the eardrum and trapping harmful moisture and body heat at the very bottom. Thick creams cause massive complications in dogs. A thin, watery liquid solution, on the other hand, runs effortlessly down the canal, completely coating the infected tissue in medication without ever clogging the ear. To apply the pharmacy fix, drop 4 to 5 drops of the liquid clotrimazole solution directly into the ear canal. Immediately, massage the very base of the ear cartilage until you hear the squish to distribute the medication deep around the L bend. Let your dog shake their head and wipe away the excess off the flap. You must do this twice a day for 7 to 10 days. Here is the golden rule of antifungal medicine. You must complete the full course, even if your dog's ear stops itching on day 3, and it looks totally clean. The microscopic spores are still there. If you stop early, the yeast comes back immune to the medicine. Finish the 10 days. Now, we have covered some incredible money-saving natural and pharmacy remedies. But part of being a highly educated, empowered pet parent is knowing your limits. When is home care dangerous, and when must you rush to the vet? Everything we have talked about today, the wipes, the green tea rinses, and the over-the-counter drops, is fantastic for mild wax buildup, routine drying after a swimming session, or catching a very early mild yeast flare-up. Home care is for maintenance and early prevention. But if you lift your dog's ear flap and the ear canal is swollen completely shut, if it is oozing thick, yellow, green, or bloody pus, or if your dog cries out and screams in intense pain when you try to touch the side of their head, you must drop the home remedies, get your car keys, and drive to the veterinarian immediately. At that stage, you are no longer dealing with a surface yeast issue. You are dealing with a raging, deep tissue, full-blown bacterial infection that absolutely requires prescription strength medication to stop the suffering. Furthermore, when an infection gets that deep, only a veterinarian has the specialized tool, an otoscope, to look deep into the canal and verify that the dog's eardrum is still completely intact. If a deep infection has caused the tympanic membrane to rupture or tear, the barrier between the outer world and the brain is broken. If you unknowingly pour any liquid, whether it is green tea, witch hazel, or an antifungal drop into an ear with a ruptured eardrum, that liquid will leak straight into the inner ear. It causes excruciating, blinding pain, permanent deafness, and severe, irreversible neurological damage, causing the dog to lose their balance and suffer from violent vertigo. Knowing when to step back and ask a professional for help doesn't make you a bad pet parent. It makes you a highly responsible, incredibly smart protector. You respect the boundaries of biology, and you put your dog's safety above everything else. Taking care of a dog with chronic ear issues is an exhausting journey. It tests your patience and it tests your wallet. But by simply tossing those dangerous Q-tips in the trash, performing the Frito sniff test weekly, and safely keeping the ear dry and acidic with natural wipes, you are literally changing the trajectory of your dog's comfort. Now, I want to pass a question over to you guys. Do you have a floppy-eared breed at home? Have you struggled with the endless cycle of ear yeast? And did you ever suspect it smelled like corn chips? Let me know in the comments below. I will try to read every single story, and it helps the community feel less alone in their struggles. If this masterclass changed the way you look at your dog's health and saved you a stressful trip to the clinic, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We are dedicated to uncovering the veterinary secrets that help your pets thrive. Let's protect our best friends together. The next deep dive into pet care will be opening soon.